This is the INO Podcast, where we all about healthy debate, honest conversation, and talking bare junk. Information, knowledge, observation. This is the INO Podcast. INO, information, knowledge, observation. Also, I know nothing. We got a man like Mosey.
Hey.
We got a man like Rome out there. Lips greasy with some crispy. We got coffee. My name is Marcus Myers, and we have a very special guest, one of the busiest people in Barbados for the right reasons. I mean, good grief. I was trying to get him on the show for so long. But everything in its time, as Sever said. Okay, so there are three things out of everything that get hit by the pandemic hard that get through. Jordan English,
Yes,
Father Phyllis,
he did.
and Crumbz. This is one that this is a business that has done so well in the last I guess in the last 5 years, we would say, but like 3 years especially. That phone. Wait, who phone? Is your phone?
Yeah.
Is your phone? Oh, okay.
Your phone on silent.
As I said, busiest man in Barbados, right? Do you think? Yeah, but literally in the last 3 to 5 years, it's been like this ascension to even now we think about. Oh, you turn it off. Oh, nice, even better.
You put it on.
But right, in the last 3 to 5 years, we've seen a certain rise to fame, even I guess amongst in Bajan culture and also in our generation, in our age group, where like we can't stop thinking about Crumbz. Every time you look around, there's a Crumbz.
Yes.
If you see a building one day, it's just a normal building. The next day, no opening, Crumbz. It feels like almost every empty space is being filled by a Crumbz, and not only is not only is Crumbz everywhere, but also the food is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We want to know all about Crumbz, and there's a kind of shrouded mystery that comes with it. And we want to unravel that mystery right now. So we have the CEO of Crumbz himself. We have Mr. Allan Corbin.
Hey.
Oh, hello.
That was so not enthusiastic compared to how. So okay, let me do that again. Okay, we have the CEO of Crumbz.
That's we gonna get paid. You got come down.
We have the CEO of Crumbz, Mr. Allan Corbin.
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay. Hi, hello everybody.
Thanks for coming. First of all, do you prefer Mr. Corbin? Do you prefer Allan?
Oh, you can call me Allan.
Okay, Allan. Okay. Thanks for coming. So I said that there's kind of like shrouded in mystery and a lot of curiosity about Crumbz and how Crumbz has kind of emerged as, for us, it feels like one of the top players in the game. For you, the top player in the game. But I just wanted to know if you feel like that a lot of Barbadians are very curious about Crumbz and I guess how you've risen to success in a short space of time.
Yes, yeah, obviously Barbadians are very curious. And there are a lot of rumors and innuendos and all sorts of stuff. But, I can assure you that the story is a lot more mellow than all the exciting things that people talk about.
Because some stories I hear, oh my gosh. Did you ever, okay, here's one story, and I'm not going to say what the story is, but did you ever watch Breaking Bad?
Never.
Okay. There's a guy that's on it named Gustavo Fring.
Yeah.
And he has a restaurant chain, and it's called El Pollo's Chicken, right? Yeah. Everybody loves El Pollo's Chicken, right?
Yeah.
But then, in El Pollo's Chicken, there is, in one of the branches, is a secret door. When you open that door, beneath what everybody else sees is where the real businesses are at. So I'm just saying, that's exactly what I thought. When people talk about it, I say that. But at the end of the day, though, it's actually just really what we think it is. It's just a successful business that did really well, the right strategy, everything put into place. And yeah, let's talk about it now. So I guess we can start at the very beginning of where was Crumbz at before this expansion? Like how many branches and all that stuff?
Okay, Crumbz was started approximately 8 years ago by Mr. Curtis Dodd, the founder and managing director. And It was gradually growing. But prior to the expansion, which started in 2020, we would have had about 3 branches, and we are now in the range of about 16.
Only 16 like buildings.
Well, we also have Krispy too. So
Okay.
Wow.
A quick question: what the first 3 locations were?
Right. So the Crumbz really started. Well, primarily there was Eagle Hall was the major location. That's where most of the business was transacting. And there was a little something in Spooner's Hill years ago, and then we went over to there was Fairchild Street.
Oh, that was 3rd. Okay.
Right. So and there were a couple other little things, and then we had Pelican and My Lord's Hill. So when I joined the company, it was in around December 2019, just over 2 years ago. Those were we were up to about 4 or 5 stores.
Okay.
Wow.
We had at least 4 stores.
So 2019 there was 4 stores.
Yeah.
And now there's 16. Okay.
That's 4 times.
yeah.
In 2 years.
So at what point did you all realize that there was room for like a major expansion in a short period of time?
Well, okay. So what we realized is that we had a really excellent product, and I must plug for our products is that the emphasis of our products is 2 key points about our products. We use quality products, ingredients in our materials, and then we give ample portion sizes. So let's say, for example, you'll find like our chicken patty is like the only chicken patty that you'll get, or one of the few that actually has only chicken breasts, not only just chicken, but full chicken breast. So there's no potato or anything like that. It's just seasoned.
Right.
And no filler at all. And then we also use for our dough, we use something called puff pastry, which gives it that flaky. You'll find that. So between the pastry and our meat fillings, so they tend to be pretty close to 100% filling. So if a saltfish patty, it's 100% saltfish. Or beef patty, pretty much 100% beef. And so when you get it, so when you bite in, you get this. The dough itself tastes good because it's puff pastry. Puff pastry is something that it will good enough that you can eat it by itself in its traditional sense. And then when you add now the thing to it, then the filling to it, the better the filling, it just adds and the 2 complement one another.
Right.
And you notice our patties are very, very big.
They're large.
Yeah, they're large.
Huge. Right?
Amazing.
But the start of anybody else. And then if you look at our cakes again, we use high quality materials, ingredients in our cakes. So our cakes tend to be a little moister. And we get the same thing with the cakes. So customers tell us, newer customers who come to us tell us, well, hey, this tastes like when it was a little boy.
Right.
And that's beyond the great cake. Just talking about the regular cake and so on. So it's all about giving a quality product and ample portion sizes so that people feel that they get value from it.
So you start there first. Okay, the interesting thing about Crumbz, right, is that Crumbz is in a market where there are these legacy players who have been in the market for a long time, dominating the market for a long time. And not only is it's just not one, it's many, many different brands. So even with the quality, how would you still know that you would be able to penetrate the market the way that you did?
Yeah, because one of the things that you would realize we knew our product was good, and we knew that in terms of retail operations, a retail operations location is key. If you select the correct location and you extend the number of locations that you have, you will get growth, what we call location volume just from that. So what we did by expanding out, we really basically expanded on our volume, which is our retail 101.
So it's not like, because what I assumed it was, I thought you were franchising more than like actually having like personal locations. I always thought it was like And this is just based on observation. I realized a lot of bread shops became Crumbz.
Yeah.
So my assumption was that instead of Crumbz opening a location, you look at the proprietors of these locations and say, well, look, we making money. You want to make money too?
Yeah.
And then you'll have whatever agreement you have, and they just sell your product.
Like a licensing.
Right. So franchising, right?
Right. So there are two elements to it. So there's the more obvious expansion that people would have seen is that when we opened our new stores, which were company-run stores,
Right.
but we also had people who would sell our Crumbz product. And that would typically be on us. If you look at those carefully, you will see Crumbz bread sold here as opposed to a Crumbz store. And that would be the differentiation.
Interesting.
Oh,
Well, now you gotta look at things different.
Okay. So there's some core locations, but then there are also locations that are bread shops that you have a.
You know, that is why 16. I was like, 16 is too small.
You're bad. Okay.
So wait. So 16. So these 16 are Crumbz stores.
Yeah, Crumbz run stores.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
But then there are other subsidiaries.
Like
Right. Yeah.
But there are people buy, in the standard bread industry, you have people who
Yeah,
buy
because
Right.
you will get
salads.
another bread.
I know. I remember you will pass a store one day, and then all of a sudden tomorrow, big sign, Crumbz.
Crumbz.
But the one with the big sign is maybe what.
But he wanted the little square.
Okay.
He wanted the little square that Mark Crumbz in fine print sold here.
Interesting.
Yes.
I actually wanted to share something funny with you about you just spoke about the value of your product and how much people like it and stuff. And there's a tweet that's really funny and I wanted to share it with you, right?
Yeah, okay.
And I hope that you find it as funny as I do. And I know that Kofi and Mosey and Romero find it hilarious. Right? Okay. This from Deacon Apache. Deacon Apache, shout out to you. You talk about Crumbz all the time, right? So I went to Crumbz and buy a pizza pocket. On my way back, a fella can say, big man, you buy the last pocket though. I nod and kept walking. And he said, and the fella can say, but you want that though? I reply and say, well, Chai, I can't help you. Man walk in front of me and say, but Rastaman, I ain't asking you. so if this pizza pockets taste like this, right? What? If we really see a confrontation like this for these pizza pockets, I understand.
I didn't figure out, was that a robbery or was he offering the money?
The man said, big man, I am not asking you. Understand? So if that's the case, right, obviously, what you're saying, you were just saying it. The product is different.
Which goes back to the Breaking Bad analogy.
Right. Okay, so here's the argument people have now. In order for you to have that ascension into different locations so quickly, right?
Yeah.
You need a certain level of capital.
Yes.
Now, the thing about that is, where does it come from?
Yes. And as but as I said, we are internally funded company, right? So, we fund this stuff ourselves.
I mean, you as in you fund the stuff. It's not
the
that
company fund.
You ain't helping these rumors, You're not helping these rumors.
No, but the thing that okay. And you know what's really funny though? And this is I know if there's a side note. If you were white and you had this velocity in a matter of 3 years, we wouldn't ask any of these questions. This wouldn't be a topic. This would not be a topic of conversation. But the fact that, but of course, knowing the historical whatever, there are certain assumptions people have and stuff, which are not the case.
Right. So what we are seeing is that the lesson in this is that what can be achieved if you have a vision, and then if you have a team that is able to execute on your vision. No matter how much money you have, if you don't have the ability to execute and you don't have the people who can execute what your plans are, it's going to be zero. So you can do a lot more, and we have an excellent team. And our team is able to execute on our plans. And that's why we were able to expand, very rapidly.
But did you have any fund, small business funding from like the BIDC or any of those?
No, that's what I say. It's
all internal. Wow,
all internal.
Wow. I mean, you just believe. Everybody believed in the product. That's one thing that for sure. Everybody from the very beginning, before you became what you became, and you were still small, everybody believed in what it can be.
I mean, I kind of want to ask, before you said you joined in 2019 and the store was established 8 or so years ago. So was there a point where you were just like, yo, this bread tastes good, I want to be a part of it? How did you get to join Crumbz? How did you get to that December 2019 part?
Well, actually, I joined the company as a consultant to help with various development issues, and that ended up me being the CEO.
Wow.
Right.
So I was a strategic business consultant. So I was brought in to help. But so you believed in the company so much so that you didn't want to just be a consultant. You really saw the value in that you would be, a daily person, as CEO,
Yeah, we kept a mutual agreement.
Yeah.
We had an excellent product,
right.
and so we came to an agreement that
You keep mentioning the team, like outside of you and Todd, like what does the board of Crumbz look like?
Well, it's more of core of a management team that we have. Our management team. So we have a business development manager, we have a retail manager, obviously we have a finance manager, and we have an HR manager, right? And then we have our operations manager and our engineering manager. So what we do then is that we're the team that functions, that executes on the projects, particularly the operational level. And the lesson I would like to bring to people is people are so critical to your business strategy.
Human resources.
To identify when you're looking at recruitment,
Talent.
the quality of that talent is the true determinant of your success or failure. Because if you do not get the correct talent, the right talent, the people who have the talent who can deliver, your business will suffer. Right. And that's why most businesses, not why, we're the only reason, but that's one of the reasons why most businesses, startup businesses fail, is that you there are a lot of things you need to do, but you can't achieve it unless you have people with the expertise and the capacity to execute on your vision.
What does your talent selection process look like? And I asked that for a reason. I will give you the reason after, but how do you know that the person that you believe is as competent as you think they are?
Well,
go ahead.
Because you know them all and you work with them.
Oh, okay. So people that
between the founder and myself, it's a combination of people who you knew and you knew what their skill set was.
Okay, so it's not like you saw look at a CV and it was like, oh, this person got the experience, got the qualifications.
Right, and in many instances, it's a case where you know that person, you work with that person, and you know what that person is capable of, and you got that person as opposed to, the more classic, you start looking for people,
right?
Out of the paper,
right?
Yeah.
No,
there's actually something very interesting. That the reason why I asked you that is because there are like studies that show that confidence a lot of the time is more important than competence when you're trying to get a position. So which is why we have a natural bias towards people who are confident, regardless of their competency. So a lot of the time that people go to job interviews, they don't necessarily get the job interview because of what is on paper, but because they are likable and can win somebody over in the moment.
Yeah.
So, but your way of doing it, Rich, would be that you select people based off of what you know of them prior to everything.
Yes, what we know of them.
Is what kind of eliminate all of that bias. It would just be, I know you based off of your skill set and what you did in the past, and you are proven. Yeah, there's a proof of concept there. So yeah, and you see, one of the things that you are realizing, and if you look at a normal, typical HR process, from my experience and all that, which is pretty wide, one of the things you got to realize don't flex, man. Don't let this flex. Don't
drop it.
We heard you say that.
Which is that the trick in identifying people. When you go through the normal process, is that you're really trying to find someone who will fit into your organization and be able to be functional and performance oriented in the role that they have. And basically that's why you hear me use the word execute. Right. So it really doesn't matter in a sense how much you know if you can't execute.
Right.
Okay. So the key is if a person has knowledge, but they need to have the ability to execute, or what we call be a high performance player. And we were fortunate enough that we were able to put together a high performance team, and that more than anything else allowed us to make maximum use of what resources we had. So that all this, the other talk that people have, right? People tend to define it. If I have this amount of money, then I can do this. But I would say that the first thing you gotta do is that you gotta work on the ideas,
right?
Get the vision right,
right.
And you gotta identify the people who will play the key role in executing on that vision, and that's it. Because and that will allow you then to make maximum use of the money that you have. And that in itself is. You were saying something, Coffee? Or you cool?
It wasn't.
Okay,
cool.
Yeah, during your expansion, which would have started I guess 2020 to now, you would have had a lot of locations. Were there how many locations would you have went to that you realized you open here in the best place, let's just reroute and go somewhere else?
Probably maybe about 3.
Really?
3?
Yeah.
Only 3 that you denied?
Well, not as denied with the couple.
Sorry, they didn't work out.
They went to.
But there were some people that started, but then they didn't work out.
So how do you know where to put a Crumbz?
Well, again, it's a combination of the experience and understanding of catchment areas.
Allan, I can be real with you, right? The fact that Crumbz and Sheraton is blowing my mind up to today.
Yeah.
And because I know Sheraton rent is high.
Yeah.
And you're selling bread.
Yeah.
And I normally can't wrap my head around it until the other day I had to buy bread from my grandma who lives in Rendezvous. First place, second thing. But Crumbz and Sheraton, this is about 3 days in a row that I went Crumbz. Always in the evening. Crumbz never have bread, me.
Because it's sold out.
I don't understand, I understand what you mean by vinegar, but I can't wrap my head around the thought of bread that's selling Sheraton. I can't afford clothes in Sheraton. Why would they go there for bread?
Sheraton is a
high volume.
It's true.
Volume.
Exactly.
Volume.
It's about catchment, the volume. Where location is why I said location. So there's location in on a physical location somewhere out, and there's location within Sheraton Mall.
Right. Which leads me to ask. So that you have you will have a Crumbz as a cash cow.
Yeah.
Whereas you're just having these other Crumbz kind of holding up the brand almost.
Not really, no. You once you start get to a point where you realize a location is not performing at a particular level, then you've exhausted all your options and trying to get it beyond that. Then there's a cutoff point in which
I can say what is when you said that, Kofi, I just remembered. And this is from a totally different industry, but Netflix pays, for example, Dave Chappelle millions and millions of dollars, right?
Right.
He gets paid millions of dollars for being Dave Chappelle, but all the publicity that comes with him being on Netflix, that all adds into their marketing strategy. So that also is marketing budget from him as well. So they get it back more ways than one.
Yeah, that's where my mindset is at, because it's another advantage of Crumbz being in Sheraton is seeing Crumbz, which is I don't know about the accounting department. I can't imagine that Crumbz Fairshell Street makes less profit than Sheraton.
Right.
I feel that is a location that rent can't be stupid. Has a lot of traffic. Whereas, again, this is just going from a perspective from someone that had a store in the food court in Sheraton. That rent is stupid. And again, I know you're selling bread, but that volume of bread to make it that rent to me seems
But again, that's why I said
smile coffee.
It is you not there are locations and there's something called, as I said, I would started this. I call it location volume.
Yeah.
Right. And if you have the product that people are want to look for, then that location will generate the volumes that will allow the business to be quite that particular location to be quite viable. And so you would find that there are always surprises in terms of locations, how well a location performs,
right.
and so on. And that's
would you be able to say what locations I guess, overperformed that you believe that you it was just a surprise, like how much that really dominated that location?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, okay.
We get it, sorry.
What
on your money.
Yeah.
what are some other things that you have learned generally about business, being a businessman, but coming to Crumbz, that you would have learned that, I guess, are principles of business that persons may want to know?
Well, I would say it's a little toughy because as I said, I bring a tremendous amount of experience,
Right.
in the retail space, right?
Speak, my man. But the thing is, right, you ain't gonna just say that, you know. You
Right,
got,
it's all right.
let the man breathe on that. If you got experience,
so
man,
clean,
that's
though.
all.
That's so clean.
One of the things I would say is that the whole issue of risk, right? So I would say that one of the things that that we deal with is that in business, typically the higher the risk, the higher the reward. The higher what I call your risk appetite. The higher your risk appetite, I should say. The higher the potential reward and the higher the loss. So what I found is that our founder has a very high appetite for risk. And it's very no oriented.
Yeah.
And let's do it. Let's do it. No. And our whole decision making process, we discuss, we think, and we make decisions and we act on them. We don't sit around.
No,
And that's the
latency.
equation.
Right.
Yeah, the distance between the idea, the thought, what you're doing, and the discussion and the implementation is short.
Nice. Because and the thing is, I don't know how many. So basically, it's a mindset. It's just a matter of like willing to take on the risk no matter what. I mean, you may lose money.
No matter what, but
no matter what, right? But the thing is, I know many people who think about the risk of whether it be investing, whether it be taking that leap of faith, whatever. And they say, well, right now, I can spend this money and probably triple it in a year.
Yeah.
But I could also save this money.
Yeah.
Just keep it on your bank, and just I ain't gonna lose nothing because I saving it.
Yeah.
And so that kind of mindset, okay, I understand what you're saying, because I don't know many people that would do what it is that you did, especially during a pandemic.
Exactly. And so there are a lot of terms that you could use. I remember, one person that I know years ago, they said the fierce urgency of no.
Mm.
And we operate on that principle. Whatever you do, let's do it. No, we are not. If there's the decision, we might have a discussion about the whole decision-making process about should we or shouldn't we, and how we should and so on. But once you cross that threshold, we just kick into gear and go.
Here's the thing that I don't get. Okay, y'all basically had a plan prior to the pandemic, but during the pandemic, okay, we were dealing with a virus where we didn't know the extent of the virus's implications for people's health, one. And two, we were seeing lockdowns. We didn't know how long the lockdowns would last for. In terms of the economic fallout, we didn't know that either. And we were kind of in limbo, and yet you still expedited the plan. And that is a huge risk. You know what I mean?
It's food, though.
It's food. And not only that, it's bread.
Yeah, like
Our relationship, Barbadian relationship with bread.
It's
I don't think
unhealthy.
we understand.
It's very unhealthy, but it is what it is.
Interesting choice of bread.
That's what I said.
Again, like in anything else, you have to understand. It's like being centered on understanding where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So as an individual or a business, where you stand, what's your potential?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was talking to Marcus earlier before we started, the other thing is that you don't want to be just hit in the back by a Mack truck.
Huh?
I don't think anybody wants that.
You gotta explain that.
Keep going.
And
I've been like that for
right,
29 years or so.
So what you have to do in life and business is that you got to remove your blinkers and understand that life and business operates within a social, political, economic, and financial context.
Right.
And you need to be not only understanding about what's happened in the past and what's currently happening, you need to be able to look down the road and see what is going to happen in the future, whether it has a personal level or at a business level. And our decisions related to the how we dealt with COVID was that we took a strategic look about where we think things were going to go in various areas. And then based on that, we then made the decisions of what we think is the best course of action that we should take when you're doing that. So the question that, so one of the things that we would have looked at, we would have said, like, what do you do? The lockdown, once it got, is going to cause a recession in the country and high unemployment. And so we started to look down the road and say, well, but we didn't know how much. So the question is, so we started to do so we started to collect information by research of what the direction was, what's happening with other people's businesses, what's happening, what's the trend line. Are your sales up, down, whatever. And based on that, we were trying to get a beat as to how much we think the economy was going to shrink and what was going to happen. And what was clear was that even for bread in the market, what was going to happen is, if it were to use a bakery analysis, was that even with bread, because of the economic fallout was going to be so significant, the pie would shrink. Right? And so the question is, when the pie shrunk, what was going to be your survival or what was going to be your strategy to deal with a shrunken pie? And because no matter how great bread is, if people ain't got the money to buy it, and if you remember what would have happened in the shutdown, the lockdowns, is that thousands of people suddenly had no work. And what happened was, and a lot of people didn't realize, what happened was in the period in March and April when we had the lockdown, what a lot of companies did is that they brought forward, the government did some strategies where they extended unemployment. The employers sent a lot of people on holiday, which gave them money. Right. When they say send them money, they were going off anyway. So what it is, rather than, so they gave them money to go and say, I can give you holiday money. And so the people ended up with cash. So,
oh my word.
So in up here March, April, May, people had, even though they were home, that was in the first wave, they had cash. But that cash would start running out. Eventually. So when that cash started to run out, that's when the economy started to contract. But we were looking at that before. We weren't waiting to find out, wait a minute, the economy is contracted. We were trying to get a beat as to how much we knew it was going to contract. It's a question of how much. And once we do that, our question would be, when there's a contraction, and when people run out of money, what would be our strategy going forward? Do we sit back and try and wait it out? Or do we come up swinging? And in a very simple term, what we did, our strategy was, what we're going to do is we're going to try and get a bigger share of a smaller pie.
Are you playing? Yeah. I know. Okay. That's really hype. I ain't gonna lie. It's really hype. I like that.
That's the simplest strategy.
I feel like. Sorry, I just the timing of you joining in December 2019. Like right before the pandemic, that just sounds so suspicious.
I want to ask you something.
Be careful with you.
Tell me something. Do you know the story of Amazon?
Yes, very well. I'm a student of business models.
Okay. So for the persons that don't know, and by the way, I'm going to butcher this, and I wish you could say it, but okay, I just want to tell you what. Okay, so Amazon started in 1994, right? Jeff Bezos saw a plan for e-commerce in 1995, right? He said that, and he got investors to help him with this, but basically to sum it up, he decided that he is going to price all of his deliveries very, very, very low. And also, all of his, when you buy from him, you get the product lower too compared to the people like, well, it'd be like Walmart, et cetera, so that you come to him, right? Amazon, and don't quote me on this, but Amazon made a loss for 10 years, right? They did not make any money for 10 years, but they grew the market that they were catering to in that time period, right? So basically, although they made a loss, there were more people that were depending on Amazon. Amazon was growing its brand. That kind of brand identity was built. The kind of equity was built. And then they capitalized on the market. So they did not care about profit for a long time. They only cared about volume of sales. And then eventually, then they started increasing the prices simply like that. Then the investors started to invest more, et cetera, because they then eventually started to, I think in like 2010, they had like 50% of e-commerce. I can't remember how much it was. But that long game of like making a loss first, acquiring the market share, being the dominant player in the market, putting a lot of other businesses out of business because of the fact that
people ain't trying to see them. People
right?
People go with Amazon.
How is any of that? Do you take any of that kind of model into account of playing the long game, that kind of way of market share over profit?
Not with the Amazon model, because again, there's a little tweak to Amazon. And the thing about Amazon, you gotta remember, Amazon already started known as an online bookstore.
Yeah.
Right.
And what happened then along the way, and they were able to get a lot of people to buy their books online because the prices were so much better and so on. But again, in surveying the social economic financial landscape, Bezos and his team realized, you know something? Beyond the books, there are all these other consumer goods, these other goods. So they made a strategic shift,
right,
or expansion,
right,
so that books are now a very small part of Amazon,
right,
tiny, but everything else. And so what they did is they built. So they then built this online business. At that time, they didn't really talk so much about e-commerce. They didn't use in a big term. They talk about online business. So he built this online bookstore. So instead of having to go and buy the book in a bookstore, he killed off a lot of bookstores.
Right.
Nearly all of them. What you do is you go and you can buy it online, you can buy a better price and so on. But what, again, looking around, he realized, hey, you know something? We can extend this model out. No, so they made a strategic shift away from focusing on books alone, which was a big market.
And then they moved on to fried chicken. I understand what you're saying.
I was going to say that, dog.
Then they moved on to fried chicken.
I wanted to make Krispy's draw.
Yeah, right. So keep going. So the lesson learned was this online thing works, right? So let me extend it out now to other things.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, but they even took it another step further, which is they said, well, you know something? Just like how we have the Crumbz sold here, well, Amazon said, well, you know something? Well, we don't have to buy all this stuff and sell it. What their model was is that what they did is they said, oh, you can use my platform to sell your goods and for a fee. And I will manage all the e-commerce and the delivery aspect, the technological background. So that the largest revenue earner for Amazon is actually the
third parties.
Yeah.
Not the third parties.
Oh, sorry.
The Amazon system.
Right, that's what Marcus means. So people selling through Amazon.
No, like people selling through Amazon.
The product.
It's people paying Amazon for the use of their platform.
Right.
No. But not only the goods, but the actual technology. Right. So what I'm saying is, so Amazon technology, Amazon services are used by other companies beyond just buying and selling. Because the platform tweak can focus. So, like for example, there was a massive government contract, billions of dollars, and still a lot of legal issues on. And Amazon will fight for it because what they're doing is they're using their platform. So what people do too is people, like, for example, if you want to set up a web online business, you can rent Amazon servers and space on their servers and install the server on Amazon servers and pay them a fee. So you don't have to actually set up a physical workspace. And that has nothing to do with selling. It might be an accounting program. It might be some other program. It's just that, so you're renting digital technology space and they make as a service. So they're selling their background, their technological platform. And so they make lots of money on it because they're not buying and selling anything. They're selling you a service.
I feel like I got something to say about Meg got anything to say about that? Yeah. All right, cool. Because I have a feeling that I kind of know what is that Crumbz doing though. But I don't know if I want to say it. I can say what my
you do your thing and I respond.
Spill the secrets, dog. Spill the secrets, dog.
Okay. Crumbz, right, goes to these locations. But first, puts the bread in the locations first. Sees how the bread is selling. If it's selling a lot, that is basically... So what Amazon does, right? Amazon is very smart and very manipulative and it's a very evil genius kind of thing where they let certain businesses be on Amazon, right? When the businesses are on Amazon, they can then track all of the data of who is buying what age, what race, whatever. Amazon then makes the same product that is being sold by the third party and then targets all of the people that will buy it most, right? What Crumbz might be doing, right? Crumbz is putting their cakes in different places. I'm not saying the locations. I'm saying the different bakeries that are out there. Seeing which ones sell the most first. When you realize that, you understand where there would be benefit in the market to be in that space. Because you're using data, but you're using data from walk-ins. You're not really using data the way Amazon uses data. So I think that's what you're using to expand so that you would then know where would be the best location to put Crumbz. What do you think?
No, we don't know that.
Yeah, he kind of dismissed that earlier thought, Marcus. He kind of dismissed that earlier.
It was a valiant attempt, though.
Yeah, but you using the experience that we have.
My mind is broken, bro.
we would simply, based on the location, we simply do an assessment of that location and in the traditional way, in a normal way, and say, well, is that a good location or not? We have a robust review. As I said, there's nothing magical about that one.
He said that, though. I just love research like that.
Do your research, use your experience, and you monitor the catchment area, the traffic patterns in the area, both the vehicular and the pedestrian traffic, and so on. And as I said, a lot about business is, even with Amazon, it's a lot of nuts and bolts stuff. Once you understand the nuts and bolts stuff, the question is, how do you use those nuts and bolts, right? Yeah. To grow your business. It's not all that sexy as people try to make it out to be.
Kofi, you want to carry on?
But
left man.
A little bit.
Go ahead.
Because we were talking about how Amazon spread from just selling books, and they realized, well, we could use this sort of business platform for other services.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to get into the whole Krispy's start. Yeah. What was the idea behind Krispy's?
That's it. That's
when you say all right, Bajans like bread. What else Bajans like? Chicken. Let me do that. That's funny.
Basically.
Yo, I don't want to think that was a joke.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Wait. It's a little bit more, but basically that's what it was. I just wanted to know how. Okay. So now you're entering into a different territory of fried chicken. We know that you got enough people in that market too. Yeah. And they already are, these are also legacy players in the game. Yeah. Right? The other market, in my opinion, is already saturated. Mm-hmm. One of the things I want to ask you is, are there certain markets that can never be too saturated?
I got to answer that a different way. You're saturated until you're not saturated. And by that I mean, if you check the history of businesses, if you go back through all sorts of businesses, you will realize that there are businesses, you ever hear about Kodak?
The film company?
Yeah. Remember the last time you went and thought about buying a Kodak?
Never.
In my life.
Oh, wow.
Not even a digital camera.
When was the last time you even saw a Kodak digital camera?
Long for
Kodak camera.
I don't.
Kodak was a leader in
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. But they're not anymore.
Right.
So the same thing up there. You were a leader until you aren't.
Well,
because remember what happens is it's more of a different sort of economic argument. So basically, what happens in business is somebody might come with a product that is pretty outstanding. You know, it might be even a new product.
Right.
Okay, and that company makes a lot of money from that product, and they become the leader. And then other people join in, and then you have leaders. But then there's a curve in economics. I don't want to call it a name because I can't remember it, but I think it's the Angles curve. But what it says is that once that product so you get a lot of players then, so people make high profits initially. A lot of people will come into the market space. You will get saturation. The prices will be high, but then as you get more and more players, the prices starts to come down because of the impact of technology and so on and wider markets.
The product life cycle or no?
There's a product life cycle.
Okay.
Right? So what will happen is then, so you have leaders, and then what happens is then the product starts to go down and you get more competition in the market space.
Right.
As prices start to usually come down on an average basis.
I want to ask you a very direct question. In this graph right now, where are we for the Crumbz side of things? Because you're saying at one point prices are going to come down from the big players, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, but our prices stabilize because we're into different sort of times, but normally the prices...
So there at one point, there's a ceiling to reach.
There will be up there. There's a point.
Right, yeah. But at the same time, like, there's a lot that you just said that I could question, but just like what Krispy specifically is doing. Because it's like, you also mentioned that, I don't want to misquote you, but you were pretty much saying that, what is the example you used? That at some point technology changes, there's an outstanding product. What is the Krispy's outstanding characteristic? What makes Krispy's different to say? You said the market is saturated until it's not.
Yeah.
What is Krispy doing that is not saturating the market?
Well, the thing about it is you come into the market. That's what the point I was making is that you will come into the market and there will be a lot of players in the market. But then there are players who come into the market and shake the market.
Right.
So the market shifts. And so players come into the marketplace and they make an impact in the market.
Right.
And when you make that impact in the market, in the first phase in the product cycle, the market is growing and there's a lot of people, but then the market starts to now, and that's where you talk about saturation.
Right,
so if a newer player comes in and that player is good, what the player does, it display it by generically you start to displace. If you're successful,
right,
you start to get your own share of the market.
Right.
It's very easy to see this in so many other industries. Like just to go back to Netflix, for example. Netflix was dominating for 2015, 2016, 2017. Now we have a market saturation where I can't count the amount of competitors they have.
Yeah.
And what I would say shook up the market now is when Disney Plus came out. You're familiar with Disney Plus?
Yeah.
So Disney Plus has passed 100 million. They passed a big Netflix figure in 2 years that they were operating. That Netflix took like 7 or so to pass.
Yeah.
So like I can see and I can understand the Disney Plus difference. Netflix is not a production company. Disney is. Disney has a back catalog of years with product. Yeah. So it's like, it's easy to see how the market space can become less saturated over time when a big player like that can shake the space. Yeah. Now, I respect
underdog.
Right. I respect Crumbz as a big player in the industry, but how I still don't understand how you expect. And again, there's no this at all. That's on the red back on my memo. But I don't understand how Krispy is going to be the person to like shake at the chicken industry in Barbados. Like bread is wanting.
Okay. Now
Well, I'm not going to answer that. We will give it our best shot with respect to that. Cool. But again, all I would say is that, to any aspiring person into the business and stuff, and I mentioned this to Marcus. One of the things that when you're doing a product, you have to look and see, well, what differentiates you from all the other players in the marketplace. And that differentiation is not only at the product level, but at the operational level and how you operate that business, right? And that gives you what we call or potentially a competitive advantage in the market space. Right. So the key then is, we'll do what we think we need to do. And the chips will fall where they're made. The chips. You keep Before you go on, Kofi, you were saying that? No, sorry. Right. And that's it. And remember, as I said, whether you would disrupt the marketplace and make an impact on the marketplace, it's really a function as to how you can differentiate yourself in the marketplace. Right, so I'm going to translate all that, and I want to get to you, Mosey. I'm going to translate all what he just said, right? That is the vanilla answer. He's not going to tell you the secret to what it's in chicken. He knows what the differentiation is and what it takes to beat the market, but he can't tell us because of reasons in terms of competitive advantage. That is everything that he just said summed up to me. Yeah. I'm going to tell you that's the vanilla answer. It's not about Bones.
Yeah, I would say he did hint at the answer early in the interview. He spoke about sizes. He spoke about the portion sizes and so on. But Kofi, I think we need to understand they are riding the wave of the Crumbz phenomenon. Mm-hmm. The Krispy as a sister business is able to ride the coattails of the Crumbz situation. Mm-hmm. Crumbz just kind of disrupted the market, like he said. It's like Crumbz, it was I don't know if y'all remember when Supercenter, made the switch to Massey, and how everybody was like, oh my gosh, like, Massey's here, this is taking over the invasion, right? To me, the Crumbz, it was similar to that, where you've already gotten everybody's attention, right? The Krispies is next to Crumbz, so you're able to get the people, you're in these populated areas and whatnot, high traffic areas and whatnot. It made sense that you could just do the Krispies and whatnot. Krispies was riding coattails of Crumbz. Okay. But I find it interesting that he would say, well, we will do what we do, right. Which makes me ask, is the goal to dislocate what is arguably the major player, fast food restaurateur, is the goal to dislocate that player, or is it just to run a good second?
Neither. Well, the goal is third. The goal always is, and that is what it's the same thing we apply with Crumbz to the Krispy. The goal is to generate or create a product and a service, right? That will capture the imagination of your customers and potential customer base, right? So that we can maximize the investment that we have made. Right. Okay. So by focusing on, as I said, a differentiated product in terms of the quality, and then our operational model, right? And basically, there's no certainty, but our conviction is that if we do the right things, we will get whatever our share of the market is. And when one understands how big the chicken market is in Barbados, right? You do what you have to do. You lay your foundation, And as I said, you let the chips fall where they may.
You said that.
But
listen, you let chips,
right. So
let chips fall where they may, and then get your bread. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See how I did that? See how I did that too?
yeah, and
Whatever.
it's so it's not. So you don't. We don't. People might find it strange, but we don't really we don't discuss competitors.
I mean,
Really?
No.
You want to know what I believe that?
Oh.
Yeah.
Like,
Competitors talk about us more than we talk. Certainly.
I want to ask that question a series of questions. How many Krispy's locations are there?
Oh, there are currently 4.
How many got cheers?
None.
That is blow my mind.
That's amazing.
What do you mean?
You cannot sit down at Krispy's.
I thought it was just like collect and go.
Yes,
Where does
which is why he does not. He clearly can't be discussing the boy else if he can't sit down in place, dog. That's step one in my opinion. If you are in the chicken industry in Barbados, that's step one.
But okay, wait, hold on. But sorry.
Marcus don't get.
My only question is, in order to differentiate, when you have to know what the market is that you're differentiating from. So I just wanted to know, like, how in what way do you do not look at your competitors?
I will answer that by asking a question, and because you start out by saying, and I just said differentiation. So you start out by saying that Crumbz is everywhere and the boy knows thing, right? Have you ever seen Crumbz in a supermarket?
No.
Okay.
Granted, I don't. I feel it's taboo to buy bread in a supermarket in Barbados. So I feel like it's almost advantageous to not have Crumbz in the supermarket.
But what I'm saying is, as everywhere we're not in supermarkets.
Why?
Why? Right. You get it why. But what I'm saying is, so by the same token, when I use the Amazon example, Amazon started with books, and then they went to general products, all sorts of products, and then they, what you call it, I was trying to remember them, Amazon Cloud Services. They sell their cloud services.
AWS.
Right, AWS. And that's where their big revenue. That's their massive profit. That's their massive. That's people you see the Amazon that does, but the cloud services, they make a phenomenal amount of money. That's a separate division of cloud services. So my point would be that what we do, so you change in modify. So right now, when you look, the type of shops that we are, you come, you take your stuff, and you go. But obviously, as you look around, as you develop and modify, you're not static. You're always going to be looking to see, well, where is the next opportunity for growth, and what do we need to do to move to the next level, right? And so you're not stuck. So so directionally, where you go is a function of where the market demands are.
So Crunchies is coming away.
What's Crunchies selling?
Huh?
What's Crunchies?
Ice.
I was thinking like some sort of drink. Like, I don't know, it just seems suitable.
Do y'all have meetings about where you are, as you spoke about the product life cycle about other companies? Do you talk about, like, for example, where Crumbz is in the product life cycle?
Yeah, because you have to keep a routine as to where you are, where your business is, where you stand in the market space. You got to understand that. Because, as I say, you're moving, especially you're in a very, very dynamic environment, and not necessarily dynamic in a good way. And so what you have to do is you have to be constantly understanding where you are and need to understand what both tactical and strategic shifts you have to make along the way.
But what do you think?
So you got to be constantly assessing the business.
Right.
What do you think?
Constantly making changes.
What do you think that your competitors think about you?
Well, all sorts of things. As I said, I hear that third hand, and I let them.
When you divulge what you think they say or no?
Well, we've heard stories of what they say.
You heard stories? Like rumors come up in the boardroom?
Yeah,
But you say it all or no? What do you say?
Well, what I'm saying is we don't like to feed, sort of stuff that people say.
I thought like
they might want to hear it though. Yeah.
We want to feed, we all get feed too.
Yeah, no. Well, no, my thing is that what we do is, so we don't interview. No, what you want to do is to make sure that when you communicate with the public, that you communicate the things that you need to communicate that are in furtherance of your business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, we will move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I find it interesting. Sorry, I just find it interesting you brought the example before that. And this was my assumption that Crumbz is not a supermarket. Yes, everybody saying Crumbz everywhere, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was just like, again, like I have everybody just say like you just don't buy supermarket, you don't buy bread from the supermarket, anything that's fresh or whatever. That is just instilled in our society.
But that's traditional,
right? So that's what I thought that was just playing into the Crumbz brand. Crumbz is when you think about Crumbz, you don't think of I mean, obviously it gotta be a big corporation, but it don't think big corporate bread a big place. It feels.
I want to hit on that.
But
Right, so like-
my point is that all the other major players are in supermarkets.
Right, but isn't that to an advantage for you?
Like you
That's
said, it wasn't an advantage.
what I mean. Like that is good for you.
Exactly.
I found it very weird you brought
No,
it up.
what I'm saying is, I wasn't saying that it wasn't an advantage to us. What I was saying is that when you were talking about the Krispy, how we can impact without cheers, right?
Right.
I was saying is, whereas all the other competitors are in the market space. Market space.
It was in that context.
But, you know, we still have managed to make a significant headway into the market.
What was you saying?
No, you speak about what makes your product different.
Yeah, product differentiation.
The product differentiation is the term. But I think Kofi touched on it a little bit just now. The Crumbz experience feels different.
Yeah.
It feels like something that we remember from our past. Going to the bread shop. There's a certain reverence for going to the bread shop.
Right.
You know, so you're playing into a cultural thing there because the bread shop has a cultural significance. All right, so there's that. But to me, that makes Crumbz feel different, and the Krispy by extension, because it's like you get a good food. You just feel like
that's the word. That's the word.
You can get a good food. You ain't gotta go there.
Yeah,
you ain't gotta go to that man.
Yeah.
Right? It feels like an extension of home. And I think that
exactly that is the key, bro.
The fact that they're so numerous, or the perceptions that they're everywhere. Home is everywhere for the people live in different locations. It feels like I can just go here and get saying.
Yeah.
I can stay here and get saying. Like every time we go, my family, we use a lot of Crumbz and Krispy's product. You know, we just we get short there because it feels like we get enough food. And it feels like home.
You know what's crazy? You could say so in Spikestown. And me living where I live in the other side of Barbados, I can say so too.
That's what I mean. That's the magic to me.
I will ask Mo the question. I also will ask off your question, right?
Well,
do you think that if Crumbz, then going back to what we were talking about, was sold in the supermarket, it would come across as mass produced, where it doesn't feel like a home thing?
That's what I was saying.
It feels as though it is now.
It feels like big
business.
Big business.
Right. As opposed to every bite just feel like it was met by a woman with some big arms. Right. That would be lost if you actually do go in the supermarket.
Yeah. That's what it was funny.
Which I don't know if I think could is that like I don't know if that's an unintended advantage that it just so happened that that's how it comes across, so it kind of worked out in your favor like that, or you saw that come into that, that actually helps the brand not being in the supermarket from what they're saying.
Well, what it's a more nuanced argument. Part of it is that, as I said at the beginning, we tend to focus on what we believe appeals to Bajans, that you get food that you will be comfortable that if it was made in your home. And so whether it be the pastry and so on, how we make our stuff, you try to give it that homey feel by imparting that same sort of quality in it and the portions, And even in the terms of the Krispy, that's again what we one of the things that we said is that we wanted a product that basically people would feel that would like that this product has a home feel to it, to the extent you can get fast food at home. And so it's the same philosophy it underlines Krispy, that underlines Crumbz, right? And so when you say it feels that sort of organic, as part of the home, it's what we want to do, right? But what we want to do is make sure that people get a quality product that they will feel satisfied with, and so on. And that's really where we are. And if people are saying, well, and I've had that comment where people say, well, it tastes, it has a more homely flavor, let's say, certainly in the case of the Krispy, then we are currently achieving one of the things that we really want to achieve is to have that better feel about it. So that's why I say it's all party thing. We don't really focus. We more focus on the consumer. If you focus on the consumer, the customer, as they call it, if you focus on the customer, you don't have to worry so much about your competition, because you will get your market share. And where that takes you, again, you can't really predict that. Sure. All you can do is you can do the best that you think you can do for the time, and and see where it goes from there.
I don't know. I use that mentality for personal things I do.
Yeah.
Like I think produce the content you want to watch, and then you will find your audience.
Yeah.
You're applying that to bread, and that is wild to me. I am not encouraged. I understand that you don't want to focus on your competition, and I respect that to an extent. But I still feel like, and obviously I'm wrong because you're successful. I still feel like coming into a market that exists in the place that people love and you're telling me you're not looking at your competition. That's interesting.
Yeah, not to that. Because we don't obsess on. We don't. We as I said, obviously you look at the competition, you look at what they offer in terms of the prices, but it's not
like instead of a dinner roll, you get a sweet bun.
It's not something that we spend any time on. But what we know from reports that our competition has spent a lot of time making accusations, not especially in Crumbz side, especially make a lot of accusations, right? But when you hear that anecdote, and I do not repeat anecdotal stuff. Right. That's the philosophy.
Before we put a pin in this, I want to say that right now social media is raving about how good Krispy's is. Raving.
Yeah.
People love Krispy's.
I will ask you a question about Krispy's before I forget. I forgot. Are you satisfied with Krispy's? Like you said, you noted where the differentiation of Krispy's and the competitors can be. Are you, Allan, satisfied with Krispy's?
Yeah. I'm satisfied with Krispy's, but again, what we always are looking at is we're always looking at getting feedback and looking at ways that we can improve. So in other words, so we're encouraged by how things are going so far, but it doesn't end there. And we have a vision of where we really want it to be in terms of the product. And there's always room for improvement. And as you go in the market space, you get more feedback from the customers, and you make the little tweaks and adjustments.
Okay.
Can I wanted to go sort of a general topic, right? And this is now your expertise in retail, and stuff. And of course, I want to hear the man because everybody got a relationship with this.
Yeah.
But the sweet drinks tax came up, and there's been a lot of debate. The doctors love it. A lot of people love it. The manufacturers are saying that there are issues with it, of course. Also, there are many people in the public, some political scientists that I actually spoke to personally. I can't call their name because they're nervous and all kind of thing. But anyway, what they said that there will be knock-on effects because of the tax. Some people are also saying that the tax is a bit restrictive. How can the government be saying what people can and can't do? That we should have the freedom to use what you want to use, whatever. I just wanted to know from you seeing it, what your thoughts are, and then I guess we can all chime in.
What I would say is the sugar content. Not only people were focused on the sodas, but a lot of the juices and whatever else.
Agreed.
The Red Bulls or
Some
and
even more.
the Monsters and whatever. Is of a tremendous concern in our country, and I would say that I'm in agreement with the government in terms of taxation on it. I'm just saying that out front. But they need to go a little further with respect to that, because that the impact of unhealthy eating in Barbados, in all countries across the world, the impact is having with NCDs and the consequences of NCDs. It's really tremendous, and I can tell you there, I mean, I'm a diabetic myself, and I know that there are a lot of people. Most people do not really understand what diabetes is, what are the triggers, what even if you're diagnosed, how to manage it, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, what you should do, and all that sort of stuff. And no disrespect to somebody professional, and there are even some doctors who give pretty bad advice on that. So, but it's very devastating, and out of control diabetes is very, very devastating, not to mention high blood pressure and so on. So I think that when the government can use taxation as a policy to try to discourage people from indulging in things that can potentially, because it ends up costing the government a lot of money, but more importantly, it does a lot of damage, and beyond just diabetes, people commonly call it sugar. I mean, because when you're talking about people who are blind and who are losing limbs and heart, kidney conditions, all that sort of thing, high blood pressure, it is a very serious and a growing problem throughout the world. And the deaths in the region and in Latin America and the Caribbean our rates of diabetes are tremendous, right? And the associated. So I'm very much in favor of the tax. We really need to really take a handle on those things like sugar. I know in the case of my granddaughter, my daughter, she mostly would drink water and occasional juice and very occasional drink, but not every day like how you see, because there's a lot of obese children out there out there because of that. And so when you start so young, by the time you get to a certain age, so I'm very much for that. I am.
My only thing is, Allan, don't you sell bread?
Yes.
I mean, so like bread, meat rolls, whatever it is. I mean, although the sweet drinks is a whole other beast, right? But isn't that kind of in the same realm of people overindulging in like things that are like very high calorie, very high sugar, whatever. Carbs.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you kind of square that with, I guess, like the bread consumption and all that stuff?
Okay. There's two different things. What you must explain is that the sugar content in a typical soft drink is really, really off the chart.
It is.
Right? So, I mean, it's serious. People can't even read labels. So if you go and pick up some well-known soda and you can see sugar content is 38 grams.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's 38 grams per serving, and it's $20. So it's 72 grams of sugar. Right?
It's insane.
So it's insane. It's really off the charts, right? And, what I would say is that, generally speaking, throughout the whole spectrum, we have to look at, healthy eating. A soft drink in moderation is not bad, right? But and the same thing with
anything,
any product. You don't really want to overdo it because it can have really serious health consequences.
Yeah. For sure. But to go back to what Marcus said, like I feel like traditionally, on a Sunday, a family can go to the shop, they can buy a pack of salt bread, a sandwich, loaf, 5 meat rolls, a couple of jam puffs.
Yeah.
People overindulge in bread. So just interesting to hear you have such a stance.
Yeah, and you will places will eventually go where the market takes you. And so what you would find is that more and more people are asking for healthy alternatives and so on as we go forward. And because of the same reasons I'm talking about. If you consume too much of these things, it will negatively impact and really cause serious problems in your economy.
Can I just ask, I just wanted to ask, So, and this is companies in general. I'm not asking you, but just for companies, do you feel as though companies have like a moral responsibility to, one, give healthy options, or two, I guess kind of in some ways speak to overindulgence of certain products, no matter what it is, whether it be pasta, macaroni pie, putting a sauce, all these high calorie or whatever things that can contribute to it. And even in your case too. But do you feel as though that there should be like some kind of social responsibility to like have either a healthy option or to have a message saying, eat healthy?
Not necessarily. Again, it might vary, but what I would say is that what you got to do is, it is generally at the government policy level or the different institutions who focus, let's say the Diabetes Association or the Heart Foundation or the Queen Elizabeth Hospital or whatever, or the government in terms of policy, taxation policy, or in terms of education, or even in terms of labeling foods or saying what, to let people know what's in their foods, right? So that people can then make an informed choice about, whether or not they're going to do it, right? Just remember, soft drinks are an egregious case because people drink so many of them, and when one alone is
too much.
Drink more.
Yeah, people just drink those things.
Oh, man, I was drinking a sip of soft drinks.
Timely.
Right. So I'm thinking that what we got to do is educate people more about understanding what it is that they're putting into their stomachs. But in the cases where something has really gotten bad, then government has to intervene at a policy level and make it. So that the companies themselves, companies can either choose, so companies will do, start offering a healthy offering, or some companies will offer only a health. You got companies that come out and saying, well, we only offering gluten-free products and all that sort of stuff. But they got some companies who will offer, a range of products.
Yeah. Right.
And it is for the customer to understand, right?
Yes.
So you're hopefully you're not eating, 4 jam puffs a day, right? But what happens is everything you eat, no matter what, you try down a soda with it.
Right.
And so
Which
the sugar,
is the problem.
that's the problem.
I just wanted to make a bit many point. I didn't to what you're saying. So basically, the argument for a lot of people is what you're saying. Yes, there should be healthy options, whatever, but the government should not be kind of like should not be compelling people to not take certain things and to use other things. It should be our decision about if you want to use soft drinks or not, if you want drink in moderation or not, or whatever, and for the government to take that away, people are saying that they have issues with that and stuff, and it's kind of a bit too much of an overreach. And also the manufacturers are saying that it has a huge implication on all of the people who are employed at the manufacturing companies, and they employ a lot of people and that kind of thing, a lot of buildings and whatever. So yeah, so a lot of people don't like the
Well, there's a difference between a ban. In other words, some countries are banning certain things. In China, you can't buy Kellogg's Frosted Flakes because they say there's more sugar than cornflakes.
Really?
Yeah.
Kellogg's. Oh, Frosted Flakes. Sorry, I was sorry.
Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of those say that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
The sugar, because they said the sugar content.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay.
Right. So what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is. So a 10%, a 10-cent tax on a soft drink is like more trying to tell you, you should really do that.
Yeah,
but countries have actually banned certain products.
I get you.
And so it's not. So the government hasn't even gone anywhere near that. All of this.
I get what you're saying.
Right. And bear in mind, this is very important, right? And somebody who was in retail, right? If you go into any supermarkets, I don't want to call it any name, but any of the big supermarkets, right? And you buy any of the brand name sodas, you will pay about $2.25 for them, right?
Not worry about going.
How much is $2.35? Right? Well, people go. You go in a convenience store in a gas station and you pay $3.75 for the damn drink, right? So you still have a choice to buy that drink fairly cheap. But so people pay $3.75
right.
for that, and some people got more than that.
For sure, Mark. Because if you go out in like a party or whatever, that's $5.
Exactly.
But Marcus, like people actually told you like that is restricting the government telling you what to do and what you can't do.
Yeah, they actually they equated it to the vaccine.
That is. All right.
No. Can I give you? Can you just? I just want to describe it a bit.
You already pissed me off.
I'm about to piss you off. So basically, they were saying, with the vaccine, the government is like forcing this message and saying that you're not allowed to go into certain places unless you're vaccinated, blah, whatever. And although it is not, they're not outright restricting it, they are putting a lot of barriers in place to make you go and get it, which is kind of like they are kind of forcing you in a way. So in terms of this whole tax, they're taxing you based off of something that has issues, but just they're basically saying that you are not capable of using it in moderation, that they need to put some kind of measures in place to regulate it.
This is clearly a repeated thought that person did not come with, because I think Mosey might remember this because it hurt me personally when a couple of years ago and the government taxed basmati rice. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? The tax jasmine rice. Any rice that was not plain rice, it is ridiculously expensive. And this is before we had a whole vaccine thing going on. Like this has been a thing. The government has been taxing certain foods. Like you just cannot get certain foods for a certain price. It's been that.
Well, again, it's a whole question of people. For me, what I've always found is that people do not have enough information
to
really understand what's happening around them.
For sure.
And so what happens is, and that's where the whole education comes in and making sure you feel better. Like governments all over the world use taxation to collect revenue and as a means of distributing it, right? So as simple as imported pork. Has a 200% ham. Oh, I can call that people with ham. You could walk into Walmart and pay $6 for a big ham, right. US dollars. Mm-hmm. But you know, the bung rate on that ham is over 200% duties, and then VAT.
And then VAT on top of duties.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Right? Wow. And that's the bung rate. So by the time you pay if you pay $10 US for a ham, right, you will end up that if you have to pay taxes on that, and you will end up paying like $400 for it, because of how the duties are calculated on, especially if you're shipping and you're adding the cost of the shipping. So, whereas if you eat it in the US, so the level of taxation on non-regional products, what they call common external tariff, it's tremendous, right? Even gasoline, when you buy gasoline, the bulk of the cost per liter of gasoline, or when you calculate when you fill your tank, if you put $100 of gasoline in your tank, over 65% of that's taxes. Right. The car that you drive, right, up to 1,600, up to 1,300 cc's. I think they've adjusted the rates. I haven't seen it recently, but there's the minimum. Other than the adjustments that the government did for the electric vehicles or whatever commercial vehicles,
100%.
The rate is 150%. And if you bring in one of the luxury cars, it's over 200%.
That is crazy.
Duties on that car. So when people talk about the little 10 cents, in terms of that, stopping somebody from doing anything,
is it really valuable? Huh? I don't know how much it is. Is it really?
I think it's 20. I think it's 20% tax.
On the train?
They tax,
yeah.
No, they charge an additional 10 cents.
Oh,
it's literally 10 cents.
It's literally 10 cents.
What?
Not 10%.
Why are we having this conversation?
I don't know.
I have 10 cents. I've never been a trouble 10 cents. And this is not saying that we value your money and 10 cents.
No, you're right. But people pass the 10 cents, drop the gun, but you can pass it.
You shouldn't do, by the way.
People walk. The thing is, right? People walk past 10 cents on the girl all the time. It's not enough money to say, yo.
Yeah. So are you bracing for the salt tax, because I know that is probably gonna thing, and I know that is something that the government is planning on doing. Are you considering that in your business and stuff?
We don't really use a lot of salt, so even if you cap the price, it's not. When I say we don't, salt is so important that you don't really actually use a lot of salt. That would be enough to make an impact. Maybe sugar. Yeah, a bigger impact. Salt, salt. A little tittle of salt is very strong. So we don't really add. We don't really use a lot of salt. So even if that goes up, but what we're dealing with is more the increases in the price of fuel.
Right.
That 22%.
They would
like Paul said, 22% increase in fuel charge. There've been a major increases in commodity prices. When they call commodities, like from everything you buy, whether it be corned beef or cod or saltfish or whatever, those prices increases are 30, 40, almost 50%.
All across the world, do you make that has corned beef in it?
No, we don't make any of that.
Oh, you were just stating. I'm sorry. I was thinking.
No, commodity prices.
I was thinking Crumbz. I'm trying to figure out what are you making.
No. What I was just saying is that prices generally are going to go up.
Right.
So the price of flour, the price of wheat is going up, and that's driving up the price of flour.
Right.
With the sugar, the price of sugar is going up. Has gone up. All these things have gone up already, and are going to go up more. And so they put price pressures on everyone, and they're not. And they're talking about significant. Actually, wheat, of which flour is, the main flour that we use is made, for the year since the war has gone up.
The war? Ukraine. Sorry.
Yeah. Since the war has gone up by about, nearly 50%.
What did you think he was saying, Kofi?
World War II, dog.
World War II, right.
Dog.
Right. The prices of World War II is exactly what he was talking about.
Right, because
World War II.
I don't know. Sorry.
Yes, indeed.
Sorry.
Yeah, the context is
very stupid.
remember that between Russia and Ukraine, they export about 25% of the world supply of wheat.
Really?
Yeah.
Say, okay.
That's those two countries.
I just thought wheat it just don't grow places.
Yeah, they got wheat.
But the volume.
I don't have wheat in my backyard.
The volume.
All right. But,
right.
Okay.
But a lot of wheat is used is massive ingredient.
But sure. I'm just thinking surely I don't think wheat is difficult to grow. So
yeah, but that's irrelevant. The fact is that's what the market. That's what they did.
Yeah, because they can't produce the wheat because we're fighting going on. And Russia, they banned Russian products. So between the two, what it has done is that you can't. And remember, it's a demand supply that we're dealing with. So if you take roughly 25% of the world's grain supply, 25 to 30% out of the market, it's going to cause everybody's going to be fighting for
that little bit.
For that little bit,
and
it drives up the price majorly.
Makes sense.
And
so this explains the Rastaman ain't asking you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if it's scarce,
right,
I want whatever chicken patty you got.
Right. And the countries and their countries are very dependent on for the basics. They use a lot of wheat-based products so there's a lot of instability, for example, in Sri Lanka.
Yep.
And it's because and so between the price of the gas and the price of wheat, which impacts the flour and so on, people are saying, well, we hit the limit because they're poor. So a lot of poor people, unfortunately, and so what's happening is that's driving up. That's creating instability because people are saying we can't live.
So will your prices go up?
Well, most likely.
Okay.
Because
as with most everybody else.
Everybody will have to look at their pricing because the increases are not something that you can. Think about it. So remember, we use electricity. We use gasoline to deliver our vehicles. All the inputs that go into our products are going up, and that are going to every product that everybody in anything is going up, and also there are shortages.
So I just want to let people know that if you do see the price increase go up, that is why. It's not that they're trying to.
Exactly. It's a very serious thing. Yeah, it's a very serious.
Do you think that it will be a permanent raise though? Rise?
Who knows?
Because my thing is in the event that things subside and prices settle for wheat, what
Prices
happens
don't
to...
come down.
That's what I'm trying to ask, man.
That's what.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, no,
profits are just increasing.
One, it's always difficult to know. I mean, right now, in the short term and short and medium term, you can't really see. In 5 years' time, you could have a bumper crop of wheat, and then the price falls, dramatically over a period. But you don't know. The impact of weather on the wheat is also very significant because you could have situations where the weather is causing some places not to get the amount of wheat that they would normally produce. So you're looking into a crystal ball.
Right.
In the short term, prices will spike, and they will spike.
Yeah, we got
like in the US, for example, there's a report that came out today said that the inflation rate is like 8%, over 8%, which is the highest rate in over 40 years.
Wow.
So the knock-on effects.
So we risk go up.
We're in a high-price environment. You try to see where you can,
but that's
not mitigate, but it's very difficult.
That's actually one of the final questions that I want to ask you. It just you spoke to your foresight of the environment back in 2020, early 2019 and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know, would you be willing to tell us, and this is for all the people out there that have small businesses and stuff, what you see in the next 2 years, and if you can give any kind of suggestions or advice?
We're into a very, very uncertain period, not only in terms of supplies of inputs into businesses, right? But also in terms of the prices. And also government's response to those changes. And we've seen in the last budget with the same issue that we have with the soft drinks. If you were in the soft drink business and you were looking to get into the soft drink business. So what you got to do is you got to keep your eyes and ears and senses open to the type of things that might potentially impact. So you got to listen when the Prime Minister speaks, or one of the Minister of States in the finance speak, or when you hear things about what's happening in the world about product, where you know where, if you are importing products, you gotta know where they're coming from and understand what's going to be happening down the road with the supply chain returning to that product or the prices and so on. If not, as I say, you would get hit with the Mack truck. Because like with anything else, remember, there's a limit to how much you can increase your prices before your customer said, just, depending on the market space that you're in. If you're pitching to the very rich, they obviously have a higher tolerance for increased prices. But if you're on a mass market and your prices, then your key supplier either A, can't supply you with the product your customer uses, or the prices jump so much, then your business is in peril, because if you have to take up that price, so you need to be able to know, well, if they can't supply, or if the price that they have, do I have an alternative, and identify that alternative where you can get it from. So really, if not, you could end up, you would notice that one of our competitors in the chicken industry shut down for a couple of days because they said that they couldn't get chicken.
I would have said. That's what it said, or that's
well, I can only report what they said.
You have chicken though.
but there are background reasons. But what I'm saying is,
I understand.
In other words, if you don't, you have to pay attention and understand how what you need to do to keep your business up and running, and you want to try to mitigate. You want to don't let those things come to you as a surprise, or try to mitigate and have alternatives so that you can keep them. Because in these very difficult times, any revenue that you lose could be, poses significant threats to the continuity of your business. Even something as simple like today, all for the last week, the government, the Barbados Water Authority has been saying, well, we've been taking off the water. Well, if you operate in a spa or
business gone.
And the water, if you don't have a water supply, right? You got problems, you know. So,
sorry, imagine like somebody like scrubbing your foot and like catch water.
They tell you juice. They tell you apple juice on your fridge. That's like that's you both.
Yeah, you know, or even though I clean, I have to go up with some bottled water and pour it. So I mean, even then, it's you want clean, but
any sad spirit.
Which I water with the iron and tell you that's it. You had a question, Kofi.
Yeah, so that was like good advice for like people in business or whatever. But I wanted to know like for people that just like got $2 in their pocket and they're looking to make $4, if you have like any good investment opportunities that you think people should put their money, like any place you think people should put their money toward.
That's a difficult one because in Barbados we don't have a stock market, a real stock market in the sense of the word, and your investment opportunities are decidedly very, very limited in terms of like if you just have $2 to invest and so on. You know, I know some people have been dabbling around in crypto. Some
you know, one or two men too.
Yeah.
Right? And some people are making some and some people are whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing with and most you don't have that opportunity to invest in stocks or things like in the US,
States.
in the States or any one of those developed countries. Our best opportunity, depending on how little you have, is to look to see what it is that you can do with that money. Whether in some cases, some people have made a little business doing soft drinks, or you might. When I say soft drink, not soft drink.
Oh,
juices.
Oh, right.
I was like, okay, sorry.
I mean, it's fresh juices, natural juices. In other words, in line with what y'all are talking about. In other words, look, why you pay all that money for that thing when they can have a nice low sugar juice? Because one of the things I find, that is why I say when you think about, you try to be innovative and so on. Most of the people who are doing juices with, in Bajan terms, no sugar in them.
Yeah. That's a product that you market like though.
But what I'm saying is, isn't there alternatives? It isn't necessarily that people like sugar, but they like the sweetness.
Right.
If you can figure out a way to get something that still stays sweet but doesn't have it. In other words, and those are relatively low investment things because people pay a lot of money for that, so you can pay $3, but when you go, people pay $5 or $6 have to feel that it healthy, right? I want all that sugar, or I want all of that, whatever. So
they pay a premium.
They pay a premium for it, and so you don't just go and just do everything that everybody does. What you gotta do is really think about something. Where is the niche? Where can I come in with something that differentiates me from somebody else? And I got a little joke for you. Years ago, I used to work when it was back in the early 90s, right? I used to work in town. I remember this girl, one of the girls who used to work with me. She was they started the Miss Fitness competition, and she was working out into one of these competitions. She was a little sizey, not fat, but she solid.
Yeah, firm.
And she so every morning when she come into work, she used to stop and buy one of these health things from some guy making this health thing, right? So she was asking, is this thing good? She might say all natural ingredients, right? All natural ingredients. And she's feeling good. But she said, I can't understand, though. I doing all the things about it, but my weight, we're going to talk. So one morning she's coming down to work and she sees where the fella is making this thing. Cause there was a little building near the office. And he used to make it in this building. She said she seen the man pouring like nearly a sack of sugar inside the big thing, right?
Yeah, natural though. Natural sugar.
Right? And she said, hey man, natural. What is all that sugar put in? Man, it's natural sugar natural. Because you see, that's what they compare Beijing say was sugar natural.
Right.
As a forest, whatever.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that they are not, people are doing juices, but most people are towing the traditional line and they're still putting sugar. And then when they don't put the sugar, the Beijing's get bite because it tastes bad.
Yeah.
Right? So the trick is to try to see if you can work out what you can put in it that is, it may not be zero sugar, but it is low sugar. And it can be that, like, that Coke. So we're drinking that Coke now. Sorry to use that brand. I don't like to advertise brands. But
I'm sure people know Coke though. People know Coke. I say
but what I'm saying is the original Diet Coke is really awful. But I remember when I was putting Diet Coke at home years ago, my daughter, some of her school friends would come. And they would say, well, we go out here Diet Coke and they'll drink the Coke. I said, but this tastes just like regular Coke. Right. Not that it tastes so much, but it was close enough that they could drink it.
Right.
And if that young people, they were young teenagers at that point, and they could drink that.
Right.
That means that Coke had improved it to the point where, because remember when it was young and you drank what they call that Coke, you spit it out right away because it didn't taste like anything that you should really be drinking.
Right.
And so my point is that innovation, where you differentiate, is where you can make that difference. It could be a product, it could be a service if you have a skill or something like that. But the point is you want to differentiate yourself, how you actually deliver that product or service.
I got one more question.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to wrap after that. Yeah. What don't you all get right?
Well, a lot, but businesses are dynamic, right? And you always constantly have to deal with issues. And any business, especially like any food manufacturing business, whether it be bread or whatever, one of the issues that you always constantly try to deal with it, the whole issue of trying to ensure that you have the quality that standards that you have. That's always an ongoing. It's not automatic. There's a lot of pieces that you gotta get together to make sure that you're able to consistently deliver that. And then just the logistics of you always contemplate the logistics of running that business, because you as a business grows, it becomes much more complicated. And it's always a learning exercise in terms of your systems, your processes, your people. You always got to be making adjustments here or there. So it's not a straight line. It's not, it's not all glamour. You actually have what works at this level doesn't work when you get to that level of business. And so you find, oh shoot, I gotta make some adjustments here because we're not doing this part here right. So and maintaining quality control, in any business, whether it be a product or service, but especially in places that manufacture, it's always a issue that you're always working to try to maintain that standard. And sometimes there are factors outside of your control, like if you're a supplier of a particular product can't supply you, other products are not real. There are a lot of other products that are not. They might be like flour. All flour is not the same. And something as simple as having to use a different flour.
It changes your whole product.
Could change your product in a way. So
which is why your competitor closed the other day with your chicken.
Right.
Well, that's what they say they roast chicken. I can't tell you.
You're funny. You're having a good laugh off of that closing.
I love it. He love it, though. He love it.
I want. Okay.
But there's a real challenge with chicken. I must tell you, there's a real challenge with chicken. But as I say, it's not you. It's like with the supply chain issues and so on for various reasons. There's some stuff going on in our chicken industry right now, and if you're not careful, you could end up in a not a good way.
Allan, we have some Krispies to eat.
Yes.
Because it is outside and it is getting cold. The good thing is that Krispy's even tastes good when it's cold, as you said. And as Romar would know, because he probably eating some of our Krispy's right now outside.
Not 2 snack boxes and Romar eat 1. I can't wrap my head around that yet.
But
Stingy bitch.
Allan, thanks for coming through. Thanks for giving your insight and your words of wisdom. This was amazing. I know that a lot. One thing that I took away, and I know all the men took away, is if you have a business, you have to be aware of every single thing that is happening. In the
Do your
market,
research
around you, the culture, the politics, the finances, economy, everything.
Yeah.
And we will continue to indulge Crumbz and Krispy's. We look forward to you making your rum punch in 6 months.
6 months.
Not rum. I don't know what it might be.
Natural juice.
Yeah, natural juices. Something like that.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming through again. A lot of young people and small businesses will appreciate this. And thank you for imparting your wisdom. With that being said, INO Podcast. We out.
Thanks for watching the INO Podcast, Information, Knowledge, Observation. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you soon.